Ladies and gentlemen, we're here now at City Hall, city site, 790 North Homestead Boulevard, and we're about to begin our Committee of the Whole meeting. At this time, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilman Burgess?
Here.
Councilwoman Lobo?
Here.
Councilman Maldonado? Councilman Shelley?
Here.
Councilman Williams?
Here.
Vice Mayor Woolman? Mayor Bateman?
Here. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Additions, deletions, deferrals? None? Hearing none. This time, the Committee of the Whole discussion of art and public places, tab 1. Entertain a motion to move it on.
Move it.
Second? Thank you. Okay, we're open for discussion. Mr. Manager, who's going to lead this off?
Mayor, this is an item for discussion. Following up on the art issue, Joe is here to give a brief presentation on some of the issues that came up from the last meeting and get some directions from the Mayor and Council.
Okay. Joe? It's all
Good
you.
evening. Thank you. After we were participated in the last meeting, we were asked to make some recommendations on how the Art and Public Places ordinance could be modified to be more business-friendly and less impactful on the development community. We revisited the ordinance and made some recommendations to the fees that are charged. Just in short, the recommendations are as follows. We wanted to change the applicability from $750,000 and raise that to $1 million for both commercial and residential developments. The change in lieu of public art fee went from 1%. We're recommending to cut that in half to 0.5%. We changed the placement of the art and site fee from 1.25% down to 0.5%. And the art on site not to exceed fee from $500,000 to $100,000. If art to be placed on site, the developer will have 9 months to put the art on site. If approved, this is up from 6 months. And the same after the certificate of occupancy, the developer will be given 9 months, not 6 months, to actually install the art. So those are the basic recommendations. Those are the most impactful aspects of the ordinance because that's where the fees are charged. Everything else was left in place. So if you have any questions.
Yeah, well, if the council doesn't mind, I get the first question. I don't think the cap is low enough. I think you're going to still, I Googled 5 or 6 cities today in Florida, and I had asked a month ago to see where we could try to cut some type of impact fees, some type of fees to continue to attract business. And if you go on tomorrow, Joe, and just read some of these from Traverse, Bradenton, Leesburg, DeLand, Cape Coral, they cut some of their impact fees 50%. Some of them waived them for 1 year to attract additional business. Some of the outcome of reducing of these fees actually tripled their building department. They tripled. DeLand, Florida, tripled. And some of the incentives that they offered these businesses, they're not just home builders. I'm really referring more to retailers. So I did this so that I would get a feel for what other cities are doing. The list is long. I want to say that I've got probably 20 pages here that are really good suggestions of what they've offered. So, and I'm not offering, and I'm not even talking about cutting the impact fees. We've got a special fee, art and public places, that just it's too high. It's too high of a cap. You're not going to attract a super Target, super Walmart will charge them $100,000 because their square footage is already there. So they're at $100,000 when they come here for art and public places. I just think it's not something right now we need to do. Maybe down the road, as the economy changes and starts to turn a little bit back in our favor, in the small business development's favor. But right now, there's just a sign of just throughout the state of Florida, the cuts that they're offering and the incentives that they're offering to attract businesses, we will lose those businesses. We will lose those businesses. And kudos to Florida City because we've already started losing some businesses to Florida City. They're using their CRA department to attract some of them down there. And kudos to them. I'm not knocking them. But I would caution the council to take a hard look, and I don't mind making copies of all these or telling you where I got them on the website. but it's very interesting. It's one council person after another giving a testimony here of what it did for their city by reducing the fees to build something new in that city. So with that said, I think that $100,000 cap is still too high. It's my personal opinion. Any other input from council?
Well, Mayor, if I
Yes.
can, since you've done all the due diligence, what do you recommend then?
I would recommend that we go 50% below that at a start, and would hope that we leave that, if it's to keep a super target or not, we figure out how to make that work. I just don't think that you're going to see that happen. I know Homestead's been very, very, very lucky. Homestead has attracted these different charter schools. Homestead's attracted different national restaurants, and I really believe a lot of it was to the original building boom 3 years ago. I think that the pendulum has swung the other way, and I just think that we need to all think outside the box, and we need to think, how do we keep this going? How do we keep people in our retail stores? How do we keep retail coming? The new Sonic got off to a great start. What a boom! But it's come to realization now too, and we're going to have to figure out how to keep it all going. I would recommend at least a 50% reduction, if not more, in the cap, in the overall cap. Either that or change the square footage amount. Again, it's just too much. If you told me it was for police departments to increase enforcement because the super target is bringing 350 employees with it, and it's bringing other elements that needs additional policing, I'd vote for it. But I think we're talking about something that we believe is good in our eyes, but it's not the same in everyone's eyes. And I'm not against art. I love art, but I just believe that we're in a very tough economy, and to start creating additional fees, we're going to lose some businesses that come to City Homestead, without a doubt. I sat with one tonight, 8 employees. They caught me off guard. I really didn't know what they were here for. 8 employees they have working the operation. But we can't seem to figure out how to be flexible enough to let them operate where they need to operate, where they want to operate at, an industrial area, but it doesn't quite meet the criteria of what they're doing. That's 8 employees we're going to lose. And a part of town that we desperately need that employment, where they can actually walk to the business and go to work. And I don't want to see those 8 employees go away. So hopefully, the assistant city manager who's working on it, hopefully we get something worked out so we keep those 8 employees. I don't want to sound like I'm preaching here, but I am, because it's our grading period at the end of the year, and what we brought to Homestead and what we kept. And we've done a great job, because I know we're hundreds over the last, well, let's just say the last 18 months, 20 months. I want to say there's over 200 new businesses in our town.
Mayor?
Yes.
This came about before the majority of y'all were up here. This program was fashioned, the majority of these programs started in California. A young man that's a Homestead resident that works for Palmetto Bay, P&Z, Efrain Nunez, was a man that came to me and spoke to me about it, and I thought it was a great idea, because I've heard you say many times a beautiful city is a proud city.
Without a doubt.
And things like this, they just opened up a fountain in Palmetto Bay. They had 2,000 residents show up for the grand opening and turning on the water of the fountain. So it does instill pride in the entire community. I was told that H.H. Gregg is a national retailer that's coming in here, dropped off plans too. And I said, did they make any comment about it? And the word that I was given was that they made absolutely no comment. They paid the fee. So national retailers do. Miami-Dade already has a ordinance in place like this. Palmetto Bay does. Cutler Bay is starting to bring one on board. I believe Pinecrest has something in their books. Doral is looking at doing something to enhance their community also. I've spoken with their mayor about it to do it. So I think it's a fine line. I understand your comments, but I also think that we were lost. Our city got lost with the building boom, and we ended up with in my eyes, a lot of overbuilt areas that we didn't need. And I feel like this may pay back to the citizens if we give them some things. Some ideas that I've heard discussed is when we get the truck route changed off of Chrome Avenue, we build a roundabout down there at Southwest 4th Avenue and into Chrome Avenue. And you know, this is where this money could go, to build something like that, where it's a gateway to both the Southwest community and the downtown community. As people enter into the city, they see this beautiful roundabout there, and you know, with whatever we want to do in the middle of it, or whatever we deem art. So there's a lot of things that this is used for. It's not just, when people hear the word art, a lot of people think of a painting hanging on the wall, or a photo like Councilman Shelley's brought to us from different people and stuff. So this is a wide variety of things that isn't just art, but improves the entire community, the aesthetics of the community, and everything like that. So I definitely think we need to keep it on board and move forward with it. The numbers that we come up with, I'm not sure, you know, where we end up on that. That's up to the majority of people here. But I think that the bigger picture is that Florida City, while they do have some room down there, as you use them as an example, they're running out of room. So we're gonna be the beneficiary of that also, because their main corridors are getting filled up with whatever they have. And where we've got plenty of main corridor room and things like that, I think that can be beneficial. And I don't think the big companies are shy to contribute and take pride in the communities that they come to, as we may be trying to, you know, to say tonight. And, you know, I spoke with the mayor of Leesburg up there and at our last conference, and some of those other towns up there, and they've done great things with their CRAs and stuff up there too, and with improving. So I think they're in a little bit different situation, because most of those cities are built out and struggle to bring people in and don't have the opportunities that we still have to give to people. Leesburg, DeLand, all those up in that Lake County area of Central Florida are mostly built out, and are struggling to keep people there that are trying to look to go other places just because of, for whatever reason. You know, they're older communities and stuff, and I just want to make sure, in my eyes, we need to make sure that we keep this on board, because I think it's a great thing for the community. As we move forward and grow, it gives us an opportunity to put some great things in the town, whether it's a roundabout with a beautiful fountain, or a statue of one of the pioneers that landed here for the 100th anniversary that we're about to approach. You know, these are the type of things that we can think about and do with this fund too. So, with that said, I'll let anybody else.
No, I hear you. You make some very good points there. I just think we need to do it at $10,000 or $20,000 a clip instead of $100,000. But here's Leesburg's latest quote from today. In its latest effort to promote economic development, the Leesburg City Commission unanimously agreed to waive city impact fees up to $100,000 for each project developed within city limits. This is today's news. $100,000 they waived in city impact fees. It's happening all over Florida. That's why our governor is so aggressive on job creation. We are working with one of our state representatives now who is thrilled to hear about the one-time effort that someone made on the interchange, for the interchange on 328, and he wants to carry that forward. So we prepared some literature that came from the original person, the private sector, and sent it over to him, because it's job creation, it's evacuation situations there. There's many things fell in the line of what the governor is looking for. So I just caution us, but Mr. Shelley?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor. Just a couple questions I have as well. I think the last conversation, the last hearing we had, I support the program. I like the program. I think that it's going to help the aesthetic qualities of Homestead. So I support it. I don't want to lose it. I think we should go forward. And again, I share the same concerns, and given the economic conditions, we need to look at the numbers and evaluate the numbers. Mine are more on the bottom side, the small businesses, because I do agree that in that case, you know, an extra $10,000, $20,000, $50,000 to a small business could discourage them from coming in. So I agree on the bottom side. You know, that's something I want to look at and make sure that we don't affect those small businesses that are coming in and doing infill projects and not large projects. But at the high end, you know, I think 100,000, it doesn't seem unreasonable to me. The 500 did. The 500 seemed a little bit high. The 100,000 doesn't necessarily seem unreasonable because it's my understanding the cost is 0.5% off of the cost of the project, right? It's not square footage. It doesn't matter about the size. It matters the cost. Is that my understanding? Is that correct?
Correct. Size is cost.
So what would be, well, yes, correct, yes. I guess you are correct in that respect. But it just depends on the cost of the project itself. So 0.5% in order to pay the full 100,000, what would that be? I don't do math.
Charter High School, they paid 108.
So and what was the total cost of it? 5 million, 10 million, 20 million?
What was
1 million?
12 million on the shell part of it, yeah. What was the square, you know what the square footage was, Tom? You know what the square footage was of the school? That's okay. That's all right.
So around 12 million is $100,000. I mean, so to me, if you're investing $12 million into a project, $100,000 is not going to make or break the deal. You know, so for me, the 100,000 doesn't, at the high end, doesn't bother me. I think that it's fine, and at the same time, we are able to bring in good quality aesthetic things, whether it be artwork or fountains or sculptures or something to the effect in the city. So I don't have a problem with the high end. You know, again, my concern is the low end. I want to make sure that we're taking care of those small businesses because that could, you know, 10,000, 5,000 could make or break whether or not someone's going to invest $1 million or $500,000 or $750,000. So that's kind of my at least initial comments on this issue. One question though, did we happen to look into what art would cost? I mean, as far as if we wanted to put in a fountain or if we wanted to put in a statue, I mean, is there an average cost to purchase or build a quality piece of art? Have we established that yet?
Well, again, we need to define art through our committee, but typically a high-quality fountain can cost you $500,000. You know, lower, and then if you decide, a high-quality traffic circle or something like that with a piece of art, whether it be a fountain or a sculpture in it, can be in that price range. And we did consider a lot of this stuff. And recall we raised the threshold from $750,000 to $1 million. We essentially cut the fee in half. You were asking to have, you know, the fee. We're trying to be conservative. We cut it in half. From 1% to 0.5%. And Leesburg gave back $100,000. We cut ours 80%. We cut ours from $500,000, or the recommendations from $500,000 to $100,000. That's $400,000, not $100,000.
Yeah, but that's just one example. I can give you one that cut all their impact fees out, providing they're built within 1 year. Connection fees, wastewater fees.
This was a relatively aggressive cut that, we can go deeper than this. Just give us the direction to go deeper. We certainly could, but from my point of view, 80% cut was fairly significant. And so I wanted to bring that to the council.
And you know, just my last comment, just to follow up on the other thing is that if we're going to have the project in place, then, or this ordinance in place, if the value that we receive on these large projects is so small, then we're never going to accumulate enough monies to actually build one art in public places, much less multiple arts, you know, art or aesthetic things throughout the community. So essentially it becomes a non-functional project. So I mean, ultimately that's the policy decision we're making, you know. So that's the other thing I wanted to raise. And again, it's the policy to be made one way or another. But if we're not going to be collecting even off these large projects, then essentially it could take us 10 years before we build one fountain, and then it doesn't really accomplish what its goal was.
Mayor.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. You know, there's another economic reality to our city in that the housing boom that you referred to earlier also created a large number of foreclosures, and we were one of the cities that was hit the hardest with the number of foreclosure homes that we have. And originally, when this Art in Public Places program was put together, the threshold was much lower than what we actually approved it at, for the very reason that we wanted the impact to not affect small businesses and small homeowners. Speaking to the foreclosure crisis in our city, we were looking to improve the aesthetics of the city, plus we were talking about life quality, not only in the improvement of the schools, but also just in what the city offers. And we were looking to appeal to new people to come to live in our city, to buy our empty homes. like I said, originally, the threshold was much lower than what we ended up approving it as. My comment then was that I did not want to affect the small person, neither the small business, no, and that's relative. What do we, some people think a small business is $250,000 or less. Some people think it's $1 million or less. So when we speak of small business, I'm thinking at the $750,000 threshold that it no longer was a small business. So we agree on a number, but I would like to continue to support this program at a significant level, like Councilman Shelley said, so that we can start to affect the look of our city. And this is at a very slow rate. I mean, this program has been in place now for a couple of years, and we have yet to see one piece of art go into the city. So I don't think that it's moving at such a fast pace that we're accumulating a large amount of money and, raking in all these fees from art in public places fees. So, but I have a question, Mayor, to the Councilman Burgess, who's actually brought this program to us. I didn't hear you recommend it to keep it at the same level. Are you agreeing with the recommendation from Development Services? What is your recommendation?
In lieu of the times and of what I feel some other people may want, I could go with what's been recommended here tonight. And when we started, I think our numbers and thresholds were a lot higher. They weren't lower, and we brought them down to these numbers, and made sure that we moved some things from like 500,000 up to 750,000 and things like that. I could go with this. I just think it's important that we keep it in place. We make sure we are collecting some, and as you said, the reason that we haven't been really moved forward with this was we've just now started where we've had building to collect fees for it. In the past, I'd say 6 months, something like that is when we first started getting some people that met the thresholds that were required of the ordinance. So that's why we've just now started collecting. Each member up here is, or each council person and the mayor has recommended a person. So we have 7 people to be brought forward to move this forward. I could go, I'm happy to concede some of the changes here tonight, as long as we keep it in place and keep moving forward with it, because I think it is a very important part to our community.
Well, I concur. I think it's an important piece. I just think that it's still too high. I just think that whether it's a large business or small business, the business that was before me tonight couldn't afford to spend $9,000 to $10,000 to rezone a piece of property that they were actually renting, and the landlord wasn't about to do it. So they were ready to walk and back out if they can't get something done.
Yeah.
So
They may not have met the threshold of $750,000 or $1 million, depending on what kind of building they were going to do either, because we do have that threshold.
The building was already built. They're actually just operating.
So they wouldn't have even been in. They wouldn't have even.
No, it wasn't art in public places. It was a fee that they were quoted to change the zoning in that area.
Because this is on all new stuff or tear down.
No, I'm not totally against this. I just like to see us, be able to retain the businesses that come to us, and it's just one more fee they're going to have to pay. It's one more fee. I mean, no different than fighting to keep the taxes down and not raise the taxes on the backs of the citizens of our community. It's just where I come from. I just think we're doing well. We're holding our own, and I just, it's a fee that we could live less with, a less fee right now, only because we're in such a tough time right now to attract new businesses to our community. Since
We're just discussing this tonight, you've got quite a file there. Is there any chance that we can get that duplicated so we can all move through that?
It talks extensively about Leesburg. Actually, I read on further, and Leesburg actually took it on for a second year. They were only going to do it 1 year, but it was so successful, it attracted so many new businesses to their community, they picked it up for a second year. So I think it really makes a difference to businesses when they start shopping cities and they narrow it down to 2 or 3 different cities that they believe that they can make their business work in. That's the thing. And they narrow it down to 3, and they say, well, we're going to write Homestead off because there's $25,000 or $50,000 or a $10,000 fee we have to do, and we just don't have that money up front to set aside for that right now. We can go here because they just waived that fee for us. And I'm not big on waiving fees, but this is a very tough time, and I don't think we've seen the bottom yet. I think we're still looking at some very, very tough hurdles to jump over. and I think that we need to continue to tighten our belt. I say time and time again, the employees have done a phenomenal job, but we need to continue to tighten the belt. We don't need to be putting on, we need to be stabilizing. We are in for some rough seas, and the stock market's a good proof, what's happening right now. So with that said, I won't labor it any longer. Let's figure out if you want to let them look at it one more time, John, and see if we can, take some of this information and.
Maybe we can get our staff to give everybody that, make sure happy of that. We read it, we move it forward, and we bring it up and do something with it at the next meeting, whether everybody agrees on it or not, and then we're moving one direction or the other.
That sounds good. There are numerous suggestions here, and then I also have 15 suggestions that I'll give you copies of 15 different ways to help small businesses that are here currently and ones that want to come here. 15 different suggestions that came from other municipalities that I think that, and again, in lieu of time, I won't sit and read each one of them, but there are 15 good suggestions of what we can do to keep our small businesses alive and to attract new ones so they can buy more power from us. So they can, well, we don't want more policing, but, so they can spend their money on Homestead, live in a safe community and make a decent living. Yes, sir.
If I could go through either to Mr. Cordino or Mr. Lampert. The majority of small businesses that come to us, these do not fall into the thresholds that we've put out front in this ordinance. Is that correct?
I don't believe so. The threshold that we have approved now is $750,000 worth of development. So it's not my opinion that we're catching the vast majority of small businesses with that.
And that was the intention of the ordinance when we brought it forward, was to make sure that we tried to protect the small guy. And the bigger people that came in that probably had more money to do, the H.H. Greggs or the DDRs or somebody like that, and DDR probably would have qualified, with their traffic circle, and like the Marriott qualified with their fountain there that they built. So, those are the type of things that people can build on their projects too, out of their own pocket, to enhance. It's not that they have to give us the money. They can do a lot of different things to their building or around their building or anywhere in town that they so pleased to do to enhance the community. So I'll just leave it at that. But we did try to put a threshold in there to make sure that small businesses were protected.
Okay, thank you. Okay, with that, so we agree that we will take another look at it.
Yeah, I mean, my suggestion is maybe we can get those made tonight. If not, then tomorrow we can take them with us, read them. Some of those people will be there that we can talk to at the conference this week.
You can ask these people how they feel about it.
Talk to them personally and see what their thoughts, feelings were, exactly what their cuts did, because, who were they targeting or who were they trying to do, personal conversations are good about things like that.
Yeah.
And then I say move it forward to the next council meeting, and we either go or don't go.
I think we'll go. We just need to find the comfortable spot for.
All right, well,
Just to be clear, though, on the direction here, are you saying the proposed changes moved on as an item for the next council meeting, or you're going to have an additional discussion on the next COW to decide what your thresholds are going to be?
in my eyes, we move it forward as this, and at the committee, the council meeting, if people want to make a motion to change something, we do that. But I think we need to keep the process going. We've got 7 people sat, and I'd like to see them get started. We've got money sitting there and ideas, and 7 people that are willing to start the process for this board and go away. That's my suggestion.
Okay. Well, then, there is actually no formal motion, nothing to follow here, so I'll make a motion to say, let's vote it up or down to move it forward tonight at the 50% of the reduction there is. Let's vote. My motion is to vote to table it for further study. Simple as that.
You saying you're making a motion to table it or to vote it up and down?
No, table it
for
further
table.
study.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Look at it a little further, to talk about, the impact on it. And this weekend, you make a very good point. It's a very good week to talk to all five of them will be there, I'm sure. You know, Traveris, they're all around each other. Leesburg,
They're right there in
Traveris,
Lake
they're all right there. And it'd be a good time to go one-on-one with them and say, hey, why did you do it? You know, and did it really multiply 3 times? Because one city says it multiplied 3 times by them doing it. Their actual building department it tripled. So I mean, these are not things I'm making up. They're here. You can read them. I'll pass it around if you want now, but they're here. So,
Mr. Mayor?
yes.
The only thing I would, I got a question maybe for the city attorney. The longer it takes for us to address this with finality, anyone that's coming through the door now is still subject to the prior ordinance as it was enacted, correct, at the higher thresholds?
That's correct.
So the sooner we can, if we're going to lower it, then the sooner we can address it, probably the better for any businesses coming in. So that'd be my only caution, just making sure that we move with diligence.
Well, we could address it at the next council meeting, which is next week.
Which is fine, yeah, that's fine if we put it on the next council meeting.
Look at, that's enough time for everybody to look and read these comments from 7 or 8 other cities, some of them smaller, some of them more. It says Leesburg is 22,000, of course, we're 60,000. And I don't know, Traveris is about the same size. So,
My mind is already made up, so y'all talking out.
okay.
I already know how I'm gonna vote anyway.
Just going to need direction on whether we're moving this forward as proposed to the council meeting, or we're moving to the CAL for further discussion.
Okay. Moving it forward as it is now, in favor, and then I'll say, we're going to, 2 motions. Are we in favor of moving it forward? Let's see the majority. And if we're not, if we're ready for moving to actually table it, to study it further, let's see that vote. Okay.
Well,
I'm in favor of moving it forward.
Okay. Who else is in favor of moving it forward?
I'm in favor of moving it forward.
Okay, good. I'm in favor of studying it. Looking at the cap, some type of cap that's not still $100,000 on some business. Yeah.
I think tabling would be my decision, just to, I think the idea, what we're saying is basically we don't want to see this program go away. We know it's going to be beneficial for our community, so we're clear on that. We're basically just discussing what's going to be the cost. We now have some new data that's come before us. I know we do have the ability, and I look forward to speaking to other municipalities from this coming week. I don't know if a week is going to be enough time, or is there anything else that's going to be brought forward. So I'm in favor for tabling it.
listen.
Your mind's made up. Let's
Yeah,
do it, brother.
yeah, it is, because, you know, we're gonna go around in circles. Somebody asked me tonight, is this gonna be a big issue? I said, no, I don't think so. Well, I'm here to tell them, it is a big issue tonight. But perhaps, some of the, reservations that I hear, you know, I don't mind tabling it to this weekend, to the next meeting, per se. I don't know when the next meeting is.
Next week?
Next week is enough time?
Well, I know it's up to you, but I'm just saying, we have a meeting, we have a council meeting on Wednesday. Is there enough time to talk to people this week, you know,
Yeah,
we're
that's
up there,
fine.
or to talk to people from Leesburg and say, did that $100,000 help your city, or did it not?
Right.
And there are case study after case study in there talking about not to raise your fees, not to create new fees, not to put more on the backs of the people who come into your community to bring a business.
No, I agree with that.
Maybe I'm thinking of last week.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
have some.
but we're gridlocked now. It's 3-3.
Well,
that count.
it dies.
Yeah, that's right.
Just to clarify, I think the only direction we need here is either we're putting it on as an agenda item as proposed for the council meeting of the 17th, or you'd like to table this for the next COW, which would be next month, as a discussion item, or we could even put it on as a discussion item for the next council meeting. Typically, when you have an item where this actually proposed legislation, we put it on as an action item for the council meeting, but we could instead put it on as a discussion item first as is, or as you prefer to change it somehow, or we could not have it on the agenda for the 17th at all and have it for next month at the COW. So it's really your decision. It
Well,
doesn't make a difference.
I personally don't have a problem with it being on for discussion on the 17th.
That's fine.
And if it doesn't fly, then it goes through the circle you said, back to Cal, and then back to another council meeting. I mean, it's not the end of
So
the world.
We'll put it on as a discussion item, and then should you choose to act on it at that meeting, we'll have the opportunity to do that, or you can move it on for another meeting for discussion.
Sure.
Okay?
Okay. So I charge each one of you to talk to somebody up there this week. Okay.
Sure, we could get those copies tonight so that, we could do
Sure.
some homework while we're up there as
Get the whole
well.
file passed. I'll get a copy. I'll get a copy, or I'll copy it myself. Okay, tab 3. Tab 2. Excuse me. Discussion of bowling alley. All right. This one will go easy, right?
This would be a long one.
Mayor,
I'll entertain a motion to move it on. Move it. Second.
Second.
Okay, staff report.
we have the Kaufmans are here to give a brief presentation. They have also brought their investors with them, who will introduce themselves. Wanted to bring to your attention what's before you. In essence, what you have is a letter of intent for a lease and purchase from the Kaufmans, which has been jointly signed with them and their investors. A couple of items I'd like to point out for you is that this is really a draft of terms. We still have some minor discussion items. Two of the things that we've discussed with them already in terms of where we'd like to see a little movement is on an actual guarantee for the 7 years that the bowling alley would be open. And so the current letter of intent right now gives them the right to, in essence, pay you the full amount anytime they want, and then they would have no restrictions on the property. So what we've asked from them is a restriction for 7 years. We don't think that's going to be a problem. We've also asked them to front-end some of the payments a little more. We've asked for $200,000 spread out over the 7-year term before the final installment. So there's still a little bit of negotiating to do, but primarily, should you agree with this letter of intent, then we'll be able to move on for final documentation and bring back a contract as soon as possible. With that, Mr. Kaufman, if you'd like to introduce yourself and your investors.
We've got a real brief PowerPoint to go along with a couple of things, if the council would bear with us while that's set up. Again, I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to come back this month. At the last meeting, you charged us with producing certain information and getting our agreement closer and showing that the ability to finance was there. At that point, we were not ready to give full disclosure as to our investors and all of the details. We've come to an agreement with Worth Paris. Many of you may know of them. They're in the perfume business, and they have come on board with us to invest in this project as a full partner, both in the land and in the business. And you know, we're very excited to have them here. Major company with certainly name cachet for us. And I'd like to introduce Mr. Ike Rizvi with the company and Mr. Ali Kazmi with the company. Perhaps they can give you a little more background on the company. Mr. Rizvi is also a licensed engineer in the state of Florida. He's one of the more accomplished construction people I know. He's brought 3 nuclear power plants in this country into operation. He's been an area director for Department of Interior in this country, and he has, you know, just loads of experience in operating this country. And they're wonderful business people, and we're really happy that we were able to bring them on board with us.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Honorable Mayor and council members, ladies and gentlemen, it's a great pleasure to be here, and I'll be more than happy to answer any question you may have. Because bowling alley is not just any project. It's a family fun center, and it's a community center. I believe bowling alley brings the community together, and we hope to be a partner with this local community, encouraging any way we can, whether we have to give free coupons to the people getting A grades or whatever. But the whole idea behind a bowling alley success is that whole community takes interest in it. As far as But we are also, I mean, I was just listening to you discussing about hard times, and obviously, we are not naive to the reality that this is a very hard time to start anything or get involved in anything, particularly when I look at this bowling alley where we have had not very much success. So we have some ideas how we think we can make it successful, because if we look at it just like a property, then there are many uses of that property. But if you think about it, we want to keep it as a bowling alley. Then we have to think about what other things we can do to this property to make sure that the bowling alley, even if it loses, continues to be bowling alley and a part of this community. And with that intention, I'll be more than happy to answer any questions you may have.
When do you start?
When you tell us. Because we have been working hard. We have got site plan right here, and I studied the site plan. As you said, I happen to be a professional engineer, certified general contractor, licensed real estate broker, over 40 years in this country. But I think I've looked totally at this project, and I've seen that this location of this bowling alley on this property is only on one side. It does leave enough property of over 200 feet at the back, and it does leave about 120 feet or 25 feet on the west side. So it gives us an opportunity to do some additional construction here, because other bowling alleys that I've seen, they have some kind of shopping center, strip center, something, because bowling alley acts like an anchoring. So it does help the retail. But there are other ways we can also think, because if there is a supplemental income coming from some other development we may do on this property, then we can sustain the bowling alley in the initial stages, even if it is losing money. And that's what we want to do.
Okay. I'd like to just come in and, just fill in a little more about what the concept was here and where we're at, and bring things forward real quick. If you look up at the monitors, let's see. Red button, right? Or, no, I got it. Okay. We've got the site plan we've shown you all before, which shows the preservation of the 40 lanes and the area in front. The green area would be the restaurant area, and the yellow area we're setting aside for retail use. As you're aware, there was an existing store there. We hope to be able to modify the site plan a little bit to generate between 5,000, maybe 7,000 square feet of retail office space within the building, and use the existing shell to do that, and use that income as well to offset some of our costs. And that's one of the items we talked with the city manager about, and it would certainly be within the usage function of the site, but the lanes themselves and the restaurant itself would be fully preserved. And the area up front, we're going to keep the bathrooms. We're going to just move around some of the arcade and the billiard functions a little bit to spread it out within the facility. That's the bowling alley that sits today. For those of you who haven't been in the building in a long time, our concept is a modernization and an upgrade. A lot of this stuff can be done at a very reasonable cost. We've gone through our numbers. Equipment is available thereafter. This is an AMF 300 center, and this is what we believe that the center can look like down the road. This is the existing bar in the building. This is what the bar can be. This is some of the tables looking from where the restaurant area is. This is the type of flow and function we want to have where the restaurant is flowing in. This is the existing billiard area. This is the look we're going to be trying to achieve. That's our schedule of where we want to go. We are hoping, if council approves things tonight, we can go forward, generate the final contract with the city manager, and be back with you and close the deal before the end of the month. We're going to have a period of design and planning. We're then going to have our permitting, our demolition, our construction, and we're looking to open the facility by June 1 of 2012. Our current scheme is we are not doing any other improvements to the property outside of upgrading landscaping and lighting and repairing the parking lot in the initial phase of the project here. We're going to get the project open, up, running, and look at all of our long-term potential down the road. But we have a commitment of dollars from Worth Parish to do that. The letter is in the package, so you can see that covers our costs of all of our initial costs with the lease with you, all of our required renovations and upgrade to the building, our fixtures and furnishings, and the small amount we need as operating capital once we open. And that is where we are going to be for the next year on this project. That's where the city's at today. It's an older center, that's what it is. When we left the last meeting, you had left open the possibility of putting the project out for rebid. That's an unknown, and we'd like the city council to consider that. Proposals can come in from a non-bowling alley use of it. You know what our dollars amount are. We've come to a total dollar amount, at least in our proposal to the city manager, and we're hoping that this is what you really want, and that June 1 of 2012, we're open for business. We're prepared to take any questions, and we thank you for the time to make the presentation.
Thank you. Those are actual pictures of the...
Those are pictures of the AMF 300 Center concept, which is the concept we're putting in over here. It's a getaway from the old style furnishings and everything else. In practicality, the couches and stuff can be built locally, or they can be bought overseas and brought in at a comparable price to the old precast plastic benches over there. We're going to try to do things to make the place look more upscale.
Sure.
We feel that that's very vital for us to attract our market. You were talking of attracting businesses and people into the city. Our view of the market is Cutler Ridge South, maybe a little north, but we're really looking at the 200,000 people south of Cutler Ridge. And we want to make a place here that's going to bring them to the city of Homestead, and it's got to be more than just a bowling alley. We need an upscale restaurant. We've talked about our restaurant partner before. They're prepared to go. They have had multiple years of experience in this market, run multiple restaurants. Doing this type of an upscale, which can be done at the same cost as doing the other stuff, we've done the research, we have bid proposals in our hand, we feel is just going to make the place much more inviting to come into. We have to revise lighting in the facility because of the old style fluorescents. They're non-energy efficient. They have to be replaced because they would cost us more to run for 2 years than the cost of replacements. The floors have to be redone. The painting has to be redone. My experience is very extensive in what we like to call propping. I've done work for Disney. I've done a number of themed restaurants down here. And those items can be built or purchased and look like something they're not at a cost differential that people really don't understand because they're outside of the business. They can say, wow, this is... We were up at the bowling alley in Times Square the other day, and they have a Chinese section, which is made to look like Chinatown. And they have like this Chinese roof. And it looks like it's the old-fashioned porcelain glazed tile Chinese roof. You go up and touch it, it's plastic. Mm-hmm. It's actually off the ground. I had to stand on something to do it. And a lot of the designs they did were just done with plywood. It was carved out and then painted and textured to look like something more than it is. And we're bringing a lot of that in here to make the cost as efficient as we possibly can. But we want the look too. And we think if we're bringing business in to the area, it's very good for us because we have a deeper market we're playing with, and it's going to be good for the community as a whole, obviously, because people are going to want to come in and do other things. So we have the same focus, Mr. Mayor, that you just were talking about, of trying to attract things into Homestead, because clearly our market is greater than Homestead. So we want to be a destination point in here, and we realize that a more upscale look is what people want. This is 2011, not 1980, and we have to sell a product that people want to buy. Bowling is bowling. You take the ball, you throw it down the lane, unless you're, an athlete in the sport like Joshua is, it doesn't make a difference to most people. What we need is the venue that's going to make a difference to most people and bring them in to use it. And we spent a lot of time trying to do this, and, we're bringing in also the qualities of a large company that knows how to market along with us and can bring other things to the table besides the dollars and helping us out. And, we're looking at a much greater partnership here, and that the sum of the parts are much greater than the whole. So that's what we're bringing you today. And we're bringing you the knowledge that we now have the financial capacity with our partners to do the deal, and that the money is sitting in a bank and has been set aside in that bank by the corporation to be used for the project. And we're asking your permission to allow the city manager to complete the negotiations with us and present you with the final contract.
Thank you, sir. Council. Mr. Shelley.
Mr. Mayor, as far as what you're looking for tonight, I see here the letter of intent. Is this where we still sit as far as negotiations go, what they have in the letter of intent? Have there already been some changes to this?
The only thing that's changed from this is what we've asked for is, instead of the $450,000 total payments, which is on Exhibit 1, Item 4, terms, you'll see there it says the total of all payments through December 31st, 2018 will be $450,000. What we've asked for is $650,000 so that we have more of the upfront payments.
Okay.
We've also asked on, and it would be helpful if you're comfortable with that, that you affirm that tonight so that they understand we're pretty much fixed in that position so that we can kind of bring things quickly to conclusion over the next couple of weeks. Our hope would be if we can paper this deal very quickly, maybe we can have a special meeting and get this thing done so that we can get on their, they can get on their way. We've also asked on Item 6, use and restrictions, that we incorporate there a guarantee of a bowling alley for 7 years. And then also on Item 9, we're not clear yet on closing costs. They've asked for the city to pay for all document stamps and other fees, and that's something that we haven't really looked into in terms of how much all that would cost. We've also asked them for a deposit of $150,000, if that's acceptable to you, so that we can bring that with us for the final approval, so that once you approve the agreement, assuming you do, then we can have the deposit down, and then they can begin the transaction.
Okay. And you brought up some issues, I guess, concerns that I had. I wasn't sure where we were going in this process. And I do affirm, I mean, as far as the numbers you threw out and the restrictions, I support that. But are we going to see this again in a committee of the whole format, or any suggestions I have based on this letter of intent that you did not clarify? Should I raise those now, I guess?
It would be helpful if you'd like to do it now. It'll help us to get through the process quicker, and then also be aware that we still have some credit checking to do and background checking, and they've agreed to cooperate fully with that, and so we'll have all that information.
Okay. I have a few suggestions, if you don't mind, Mayor.
Sure.
Sure, please.
One, I'll go ahead and, so for as far as the restrictions, what we are going to look at doing is right now it says that it's restricted to a bowling alley for the duration of the term of the installment lease. We're going to make sure that it has language in there that says it's restricted to a bowling alley for the entire 7 years, or for some set time frame, such that if they were to pay us off next year, they don't turn it into something other than a bowling alley in year 2. And I saw in here too, there's language regarding the, if for some reason the bowling alley should prove to be unprofitable, is that going to come back before us? Is there going to be a language in there that we get to make that choice? Because I'd hate for them to say 2 years from now it's unprofitable, and the whole purpose that we went through this whole transaction was to get a bowling alley. So at that point in time, I guess I would like to look into having some sort of safety catch for us as a city so that we can then determine what goes forward from there. Another suggestion I had too was there's no time frame for improvements in here. Are we going to actually list and say that they have to take certain actions or complete certain renovations by certain dates? Because again, I don't want to see us give them the property, they're current on their payments, but it takes them 4 years to open a bowling alley, and we might have could have gotten some other organization to come in and get it open within a year. Because the ultimate goal here is not to get rid of the property, but the ultimate goal is to get a bowling alley open for our residents of our community and surrounding communities. So I just wanted to make sure we have some sort of timeline that we can check off, and if they don't meet, we have some way of coming in and saying, wait a minute, why don't we have our bowling alley, or we can somehow effectuate that. And my other question too dealt with the security interest in the property. I assume since it's a lease, we're going to be the title holders, but they're going to have a substantial sum of money that will be invested as part of this transaction. So how do we make sure that we always have a superior right? I mean, that's going to be between them and their investors, I assume, but I don't want to see the investors have a superior claim to us, such that if they stop making payments, we end up in this big legal mess, and again, the property ends up getting held up, and we don't get to do anything good with it. So those are kind of the issues that I've raised now, to be considered and to discuss, and if you...
And I think we can work with them to have a reasonable
We
construction timeline.
we can respond to
Okay.
the question. Firstly, we have bowling alley as our primary interest of getting into this business. However, in order to make sure that 2 years down the road, if it is losing money, we don't get out of bowling alley, we will do additional structures, whether it's a retail store or whatever it takes, to make sure that we have some income coming to support the bowling alley for 7 years or beyond. Secondly, we have not put any contingency for this multi-million-dollar project, even to put financing there as a contingency. So we are coming with a very strong cash position. We don't think we'll just lose this money and go. We want to make sure it succeeds. And as far as timeline is concerned, the first thing, the project that will start immediately will be bowling alley. We have already done enough work on this bowling alley, talked to national companies. I've got 2 bowling alleys operators. One is in Sunrise, and other people, they're just waiting to hear from us. They'll go through this equipment, they'll go through the lanes, and they'll do the renovation. So I don't see any, we just need a go-ahead. And if there are any other details, then of course we will be going through
We'll
negotiations.
work out those details.
Yeah.
We'll work with them on a reasonable construction timeline.
Yeah, we'll be more than happy.
And it shouldn't be a problem.
those are the concerns that I have. I'd like to make sure they're at least addressed, discussed, and hopefully solved.
Mr. Councilman, if I could also say, we presented on the record a proposed timeline of the project today, and we could use that as a base or a modified exhibit to the contract. That's our intent. And as you can see, Mr. Risby is very anxious to get this project going. Has made it a cash investment, not a financing investment. So there's no weights or holds on anything. And we feel the market is good now, and we want to open this up as soon as possible. So, we're prepared to make the time that you all feel are necessary.
And the letter that we have attached with our work thing does not say, it's not a bank letter of credit saying that they have the credit. It shows the cash in bank at this time. So that tells you that the funds are there to do the entire project.
Okay. Mayor, yes, I want to talk about another issue that is very related. How many employees are you, what's your job creation in this project?
Yeah.
Well, we're looking at right now around 100 employees total, combining with our restaurant. That number can vary, 10 up or down. But we're looking at a solid 100 employee base to have the bowling alley function, along with the restaurant and any retail that we would bring in alongside with the bowling center.
I don't know if this is an appropriate time or not. Maybe I'm ahead of myself, but I'd like to see that a percentage of some of these jobs be from the city of Homestead, and that some of the persons in our city, well, I'm thinking ahead, but I don't know what that percentage could be, but at least I'm thinking 25% or more, but that's just me. I don't know how my colleagues feel on dice, but I think that...
Let me help you. How about 50?
Actually, 65% of the jobs in the center are what we'll call basic entry-level jobs or minimum wage level jobs or slightly above. The other percentage of the jobs are more either management, which would have to be somebody already in the business, or office secretarial bookkeeping type help. But the majority of people on the floor running the business are cashiers, customer service representatives, mechanics, maintenance people. And those people, if they're going to be at a wage that a fair wage that we can afford to pay, are going to have to be local people, because no one's going to commute from North Miami to work here for that, given the price of gas. And, we intend to work with the city through whatever job programs, community organizations you have. time we're ready to recruit, we get as many local people as possible in there. It's good for us.
Yeah. Well, George, I'd like to see that in there somewhere. I don't know how we can do that. Perhaps you can, make sure that that a percentage is in there to, to make sure that those are some local jobs here in the city limits of Homestead. I don't know how we can put that in there, so...
So we'll talk to lawyers, see what's possible and what's not possible, and is there a threshold that you're looking at? And also, would you like to react to that?
Yes, see, the thing is, we don't want to get up into a quota system, which is not right. But every job will be first advertised locally. Preference will be for local, that is in our interest and everybody's interest. Now, if we fail to get it, then of course we have no choice but to operate it and get from wherever we can get employees. I mean, I can just tell you, if they are not employees, you can't create. I mean, I was in Bureau of Indian Affairs and taking care of Seminole tribe, and we had operator for $10, $12 or $80 an hour. We advertised everywhere we could, but how can you get the Seminole to work when he can get dividends more than?
So I think the real
So
question...
the reality has to be after all the effort, if we can't get an employee, we have to make the building.
The question for us is going to be, do you want best efforts language in the contract, or are you looking for something more specific and concrete, recognizing that the more specific you get, obviously, you've got some monitoring issues and we become more involved in their business?
Well, I think, and where I'm going, what I'm trying to say is that I'm not trying to monitor them, but I want to raise the issue of concern.
So if we put something in there with they don't make best efforts, they promise to make best efforts to hire locals, I mean, is that sufficient for you?
For right now, and then I'll think about it and call you tomorrow.
Okay.
And even if we don't get initially qualified, we'll try to create training positions so we can get some local into training and then meet the requirements. We have to.
Sounds more than fair.
I think one of the things that's really important for the accountants to understand is when Work Paris got together with us, it became more than just Homestead. And this is a major company. And they got excited about the project for many, many reasons. And we're hoping Homestead's the first project. And if we hopefully can do other projects, Homestead's going to be the training ground and the farm, so to speak, where we plant the seed personnel and we train them and we grow them, and if we do another center somewhere else in Dade County, we can take it from here and bring them up. There's also going to be a lot of cycling with the business. Typically, if you want to go to Bergville or want to go to Farmville, because we went to this thing, the people working in the job, a lot of kids were high school kids, a lot of kids were college kids. These were first entry-level jobs, and they're going to cycle periodically. So I'm hoping we have the opportunity to give the younger folks here in Homestead first-time jobs, first-time experience. It's going to be an ongoing cycling matter as they go up and move to other things and other stages of their lives. And perhaps as we grow, we'll be able to take local people from here and, move them up with the corporation. But, this has always been, I guess, a passion with me. We always felt that bowling was the right thing for Homestead, and that, the folks we had assembled here were good people for it. So we're very passionate about it, and our agenda is much bigger than just running, a business down here. We want to be good citizens down here as well. And I think if I remember right, Mr. Williams is passionate about the local churches. I mean, we're going to be wanting to work with the local churches down here, both in youth recruitment and also to attract business in the form of leagues and other things. So it pays for us to employ locally because that gives us the goodwill of people coming to do business with us.
Well, I think I'm not arguing with you. I think we're saying the same thing. You're just going a different way. I went my way, but we're at the same destination. And I just want to make sure that my voice is heard in my concern, especially with the bowling alley. And I'm supporter completely of the project. And so therefore, with that, you have my overwhelming support with just that one caveat to it. That's all. So we're saying the same thing. And how else I can assist beyond my council duties, I'm here to do that. So it doesn't matter.
Any other questions from council? When you said this will become the farm, I noticed you were walking towards me. You weren't like looking at that tractor where... You're good on your feet.
First moved down to Florida, moved down to Homestead. We actually fell in love with the city.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Years ago. It's a beautiful city. It's old-time Florida. The rest of Dade County has changed.
Right.
It's not what it was. Now, when you talk about city beautiful and other things, this is a really nice town.
Thank you.
And there were really good people in this town.
Thank you.
And, you know, we become very attached to both the project and both the community, and, you know, we're looking to have this growth from here. So it is a farm for us. And we may be in a different business, but, you know, this is
No.
the seed we're planting to grow something we hope is going to be much bigger.
You've got my support. You know that from day one. Yeah. Any further questions from council? Okay. I think that we've got all the information we need. We need a motion to move it forward as it's...
We'll begin drafting documents, bring something back. If we need a special meeting, we'll call you and ask you for that. And,
So you don't need a motion, you just need a recommendation. You got it. All right. Good deal. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We hope to see you in less than a month finalizing the deal.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Craig, I'm sorry, I did not see you out of the corner of my eye over there. I know you wanted to say a couple of comments about art in public places. I know that, you know, we kind of moved on past it. Does council have any problems with Lister?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, I don't want to revisit too much. Just want to make a couple comments. My name is Timothy L. Craig. I reside at 1865 Southeast 20th Avenue here in Homestead. I also have the pleasure and the honor of serving as the vice chair of the Community Image Advisory Board that Councilman Burgess chairs. I just want to reiterate how important this project is to arts in public places. The Art Advisory Board worked on this for over a year. We heard many presentations, and the board unanimously voted to forward this to the City Council for its approval. I certainly endorse and support the mayor's desire to bring business to the City of Homestead. It benefits us all. That is one of the specific reasons why, as the advisory board, we looked at that and wanted to make sure small businesses were not affected by this. The small businesses were not taken away by this. I don't think that 0.5% is going to discourage a super target, on the other hand. I also would like to reiterate what Councilman Burgess has said once or twice, that even if a developer or a business does not wish to pay the money, which we can certainly understand, they can incorporate in their design of their business or their development an artwork, whether it be a fountain or a sculpture or whatever, and therefore they will not have to pay any money. So the actual artwork will be incorporated in the development itself. So just in closing, I just urge the City Council to move forward with this, to approve the ordinance, to put a committee in place, and it has been languishing for nearly 2 years now. And I think it would benefit the city and the people of Homestead. We'd all be, a city will all be proud of. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. And we had the opportunity of one shot at a super target, and I don't think anybody here today, well, maybe one or two people were here, and nobody can tell me today why I put a big sign up and why I left. I don't know yet. Maybe we'll figure that out one day and correct whatever it was. Next item, tab 3. A motion to move this on the agenda, card number 211, onto the council agenda. Professional, thank you. Second? Thank you. Professional service agreement, all hazard, emergency and security consulting, LLC. Ed Bow. It's on, seconded.
Mayor, staff recommends that the mayor and council approve the attached resolution which authorizes city manager to renew the professional services agreement for all hazard emergency and security consultant LLC on behalf of the city of Homestead, and further authorize the city manager to renew for subsequent years. Edward Bowe, owner of All Hazard, is a consultant on emergency management, homeland security as it relates to public safety for the city of Homestead. This request is in accordance with the City of Homestead Code Section 2-411.1A2, exemption from competitive bidding for professional services.
Okay, questions and comments, council?
Yes. Just want to give kudos to can I say Captain Bo still? I attended some of his functions that he did around the city of Homestead and making sure that our citizens are aware of what's happening in hurricane season. And so I appreciate his work and his attention to detail, making sure that our citizens are armed. And so it's good to know that if approved, and which I will be supporting, that it would continue to work and lead the pack in our safety for the city of Homestead. God knows that there was a time in 1992 that we faced a tragic time. So it's good to know that someone's there, like Ed Bo, to lead the pack. Thank you.
You had a lot to do with chasing that one away the other day, right? Just keep turning them north. Okay, any other questions from council? Okay, hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Any nays? Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, tab 5, motion to place car number 213 on the council agenda. Bid number 201001, air conditioning and refrigeration equipment maintenance. I skipped one?
Yeah, tab 4,
I'm sorry.
Mayor, item
I'm
D.
sorry. I'm sorry. At tab 4, motion to place car 223 on the council agenda support for the county agricultural management portion of the budget. Motion to move it on. Thank you. Second. Thank you. Staff.
Mayor, in the upcoming 2012 budget, Miami-Dade County is considering the cutting of Miami-Dade University of Florida Cooperative Extension local office budget and the elimination of county's agricultural manager's position. The Cooperative Extension Office provides a research and education for farmers and programs for youth and families. The agricultural manager's position serves as the liaison between the growers and the government. Staff recommends that Mayor and Council approve the attached resolution to support the continuance of the county's agricultural manager and Miami-Dade Cooperative Extension budget. Councilman Shelley requested this item be brought forward for consideration.
Does it cost us anything? I don't know. Okay, questions from council? Yes, John.
No, I think it's important that we have an ag guy downtown,
I agree.
somebody to look out for farmers down here, so
Checking our budget.
we need to make sure we move this forward and send a message to the new mayor that it's an important industry, not just to us down here, but to all of Miami-Dade.
Sounds good. That's
Mayor,
the
one thing
crowd,
that
right?
dawned on me as I'm sitting here is that because this is a cow agenda, typically we move things to the next meeting. If you didn't want to wait and you wanted to actually approve this resolution tonight, I'm assuming, City Attorney, we could do that tonight?
Typically, we would have to wait to the actual meeting. We could advise that this has been moved forward to a council meeting if you needed to express his support in the interim, but being the cow is essentially a workshop, we really can't take final action.
Okay. The members of the Farm Bureau, do you want to say something? Oh, please.
Good evening. I'm Steve Greer, also the ag instructor at South Dade High School, one of the lead landscape operations and horticulture over there. Also have the distinguished honor, I guess, to be a board director with the Dade County Farm Bureau. We'd just like to express our thank you and gratitude for Councilman Shelley, the members of the board that have supported us in the past and again with the future. This is a very big hit to us if we lose this in the budget. I know my students benefit immensely from the IFAS Extension Service, conducting their research and development and I guess you'd say their workshops that help benefit our industry. And again, just to say thank you for pushing this resolution forward and bringing it to your attention. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yes.
Might I add also that the mayor's office is going to have a workshop on the budget here in Homestead that we're coordinating. And so that is an excellent time, I think August the 24th. So they're bringing, the mayor's coming down the county, and it's going. The board members are actually on the way to Palmetto Bay right now for another workshop, the town hall meeting. Well, the town hall meeting is going to be here too, at the community center on Chrome in the northwest area. August 24th, we confirmed that at 6 p.m. So I think they're coming to our our town, I think we need to show up and express all of that, what you're saying, along with what we're echoing here in the council. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. The mayor has personally sat in my office and said that we will not forget Deep South Day, so we're going to continue to remind him of that. Okay, any further discussions on this? All in favor?
Aye.
Nays? Okay, motion carries. Okay, back to tab 5, motion to place car 213 on the consent agenda, on the council agenda, bid 201001, air conditioning and refrigeration equipment maintenance. Motion to move it on? Thank you. Staff?
Mayor, staff is recommending to the mayor and council that they authorize city manager to extend all air of South Florida bid 201001 air conditioning and refrigeration equipment maintenance for an additional 1 year in the amount of $61,891. This contract covers air conditioning and refrigeration equipment maintenance and repairs for all of the city facilities with the exception of the sports complex and police department.
Okay, questions from council? Yeah. Yeah, you definitely know how to get our attention when it goes down. No.
Now I know why it's 60 degrees in here tonight.
No, you've done a good job on keeping us going. I know the equipment's not new by any means, and you do a good job. So, any other questions? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Nays? Okay, motion carries. Thank you, sir. Okay. Oh, sure. Usually when you get a unanimous, nobody ever wants to ask anything.
Not today, though.
Rocco DiBenedetto, 413 Northwest 13th Street, Homestead, Florida. Just out of curiosity, I'd like to know how the police department is currently maintaining their air conditioning systems.
Chief?
Who does your AC work?
Air conditioning.
Someone's done AC. AC?
Well, I think that, and Mike knows this, I think that we're dealing with another vendor, and I think we're doing that because of some misconceptions of what happened previously. But that's something that we're looking into because I'm getting involved in it to make sure that it's done right next time and make sure that we can work whatever problem is, we can work it out.
Mr. Mayor? Yes, sir.
As a follow-up, actually, that raises a question then. Did it go out to bid? Did we put those parts back out to bid after they were, I guess, moved from the current contract? Or, I mean, because you said you're using a vendor, and so if you're using a vendor, then was that out to bid? Did that get put back out to bid, and we voted on another person to take over certain parts of the city, or? Because that raises a question for me then.
Councilman Shelley, what it is, under the bid contract, any department has the right to discontinue the service with them, and they opt to do that position to go out for bid to replacement and to take over their contract. So they have the right under the bid to go ahead and drop them.
No, I'm well aware of as far as that this current person is no longer doing that at the police department. What I'm questioning is that I don't remember voting on anybody else to take over the police department, so did the new vendor come in, how did they come in? Or if they haven't, then are we going to put that back out to bid to make sure that the police department is properly maintained going forward? I guess that's just more of a procedural question on where we are than anything else.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Let me make a small correction. For the maintenance, currently, it's being done in-house.
Okay.
Okay, and whenever there is an issue of a repair, that is quoted out. That's currently how it's being handled. Okay.
Can I say one more thing?
Sure.
We recognize that deferring maintenance increases repairs. I mean, does that make sense? If you don't change the oil in your car, your motor goes bad?
Right.
So if we're not doing any maintenance, it's to be expected that our repair costs are going to be much higher than if we do maintain the air conditioning systems.
I'm sorry, Mayor.
Sure.
Didn't you just say that they're doing in-house, maintenance in-house?
Correct. By the police department, it's being done in-house.
Okay, so the maintenance is still being done, but it's being done by the City of Homestead personnel?
Correct, by a member of the police department, yes.
Okay, okay.
Wouldn't that be irrelevant to you if it's being maintained by, I mean,
I guess if I didn't know things that...
You want to know who the vendor is. You want to know who the person is? Is that what you're trying to get at?
No, I know that the maintenance isn't being done.
Oh, what?
So, I mean, I've got pictures that the maintenance isn't being done.
you're thinking maybe if you end up bidding on that and taking it over one day, you're going to have good repairs? I mean, I don't understand the question, why you're asking the question, so.
I guess we were removed because we brought things to light, and that's a whole nother story. We brought things to people's attention, and we were told that what we brought to people's attention was not accurate. We were removed from the contract. Immediately upon removal, they replaced all the air conditioning systems without allowing us to bid on the work. So, I mean, it's kind of, you know, if we're just going to shift costs one place or another, but by not doing maintenance, I mean, I've been to a facility where the ceiling's falling down now because the filters haven't been changed. So that's great that you save the money on not changing the filters, but now you got to replace the ceiling. So, you know,
I'm sorry, Mayor.
I think there's some of these items were the basis of a lawsuit which was resolved, and the fundamental issue here is there's, you know, I think significant philosophical differences between All Air and the police department, and so that's why we've kind of separated these two. Dennis is doing very well in managing the rest of the facilities, and so we figured we'd maintain the status quo for another year, and then we'll just continue along that way.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. Okay. We've already voted, right? So we're moving on. Did we not vote? We voted, right?
Yeah, we voted.
What's the kind of trouble we're in? Okay. The feeder switch. This is item 6. Motion to place card number 168. Thank you. All right. Staff report, tab 6.
Mayor, staff recommends the mayor and council award the bid to purchase 3 automated feeder switches to the overall lowest and most responsible bidder, HD Supply Utilities. Their bid prices are shown on the attached tabulation and bid proposals.
Okay, questions? Any questions? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Nays? Motion carries. Parking lot, tab 6. Motion to place 205 on council agenda. Turf and landscape maintenance agreement. Thank you. Second.
Second.
Staff report.
Mayor, staff's recommendation is the mayor and council authorize the city manager to execute the attached turf and landscape maintenance agreement between the State of Florida Department of Transportation and the City of Homestead. City of Homestead maintains the turf and landscaping along US 1 and Chrome Avenue median strips and right-of-ways. The term of this agreement shall be for a period of 1 year with 2 one-year extensions at the mutual consent of both parties. Eligible project cost $25,704.
Questions from council? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Nays? Motion carries. Tab 8, motion to place card number 201 on council agenda, purchase and installation of playground shade structure. Thank you. Second. Thank you. Staff.
Staff recommends that mayor and council approve the attached resolution authorizing the purchase and installation of a playground shade structure at J.D. Red Park. Leadex Corporation quotes the shade structure at the same price in the terms and conditions as per the School District Osceola County, Florida Contract SDOC 09B 082CJ. The total purchase price with installation is $46,900.
Questions, council? All in favor?
Aye.
Nays? Okay, motion carries. Tab 10, motion to place card 208 on the council agenda, renewal to
21.
mandatory agreement of Department of Corrections.
I move to approve the motion to co-sponsor.
I'm sorry?
Sure.
Tab 9? Okay, I'm really trying to get out of here. Motion to place card 221 on council agenda, co-sponsorship and waiver of usage fees.
I move to approve the motion.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Okay, staff.
Staff recommends that mayor and council approve the city's co-sponsorship and waiver of usage of fees in the amount of $525 for the use of the community center facility and banner for the Navarro Discount Pharmacy. Navarro Discount Pharmacy would like to hold a job fair at the community center to give city residents an opportunity to apply for employment on September 7th, 2011 from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. There would be no charge to the city for the co-sponsorship of the event. according to the city's code, Chapter 20, Section 20-11, fees and charges. The city council sets fees and has the right to waive parks and recreational fees by a majority vote.
Comments? Wow, that's what I like. I like to see that flexibility. Guys, they're going to bring us jobs, and we're going to let them use the building to hire our people. Can't get any better than that. Thank you very much. All in favor?
Aye.
Nays? Motion carries. Public safety, motion to place car 208 on the council agenda, renewal of the mandatory agreement, Department of Corrections.
I move to approve.
Thank you. Second. Staff.
Staff recommends that the mayor and council approve the attached resolution and authorize the city manager and chief of police to sign the attached memorandum of agreement on behalf of the city with the State of Florida Department of Corrections. There's no direct annual cost associated with this agreement.
Okay. Comment from council? No comments. All in favor?
Aye.
Nays? Motion carries. Okay. Motion to place car number 196 on council agenda, bid 201129, electrical control center building renovation. Thank you. Second.
Second.
Staff.
Staff recommends the mayor and city council approve the award of the bid for the renovation of the utility administration building to accommodate the new control center to the lowest, most responsive bidder, Paradigm Construction. The total project cost is $272,250. In addition, the electric utilities department is allocating an additional $27,000 for any unforeseen conditions that might arise.
Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Nays? Okay, ayes win. Okay, items 12, motion to place car number 216 on the council agenda, bid number 201130, procurement installation of control room specification systems for electrical control center. Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Report.
Staff recommends that the mayor and council approve the award of the bid for the procurement and installation of control room specific systems to the lowest, most responsive bidder, Maritime Mobile Communications DBA Digital Video Systems. The total project cost is $178,717. In addition, the electric utilities is allocating an additional $18,000 for any unforeseen conditions that might arise.
Questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor? Any nays? Carries, ayes carry. All right, before we adjourn, anyone have a final question? Anything want to bring up? We'll have a safe trip. If you're traveling to Orlando, please.
One question.
Sure.
To the manager, are we getting $100 a car for every car that's sold out there?
Mayor,
I'm not sure that falls under the scope of things that I was hoping to see out there.
this was brought to our attention yesterday. We've spoken to the city attorney's office. This is not a permitted use. We have a call into Lale Sports to inform them of this and let them know that this is not permitted.
Okay, I'm sure I was going to get some calls about having a car lot over there at the
For those council,
baseball stadium. So I'm glad you're looking into it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Those council members who want to wait, you get us a copy of this, please? City clerk?
I'll pick one up.
Okay. Okay, have a safe trip, and we'll see you in Orlando. Thank you, staff.